All right, what's going on, big baller? It's your boy MJG, and I am finally live here. Sorry about that. I know I was having some technical difficulties here, getting everything set up, but I am back in business. Welcome all to Sports Minds podcast, or excuse me, live stream over here. Had a honey-do list, as you gentlemen out there know. When a wife wants something done, you gotta get it done, boys. And if not, you're going to be hearing about it during football. And you don't want to hear about it then, trust me. Especially if you didn't listen to our podcast, you ended up making the wrong start, and now you're getting creamed by your opponent. Or you left that star player on the bench, right? That guy you really should have played. Or not necessarily star player, but the spot start you should have played. So this week we're going to be talking about some of the news, some of the updates over here. Basically, just trying to find out who you should be starting this week versus who you should be leaving on the bench. So I'm pulling everything up on on fantasy football over here, trying to see who's out. So obviously the main one's out. Aaron Jones is out. So if you have AJ Dillon, boys and girls, this is going to be the game where you really need to play him. Obviously, it's a no-brainer, right? Stuff like that. You don't need anyone to tell you what to do, right? That's just pretty much how it is. But let me see. I'm looking at some players here. Look at who it is. Welcome to the stream, Joe. We're gonna go ahead and put you live over here. What's up,
Thank you,
brother?
sir. Pleasure to be here, as
All right,
always.
Oh yeah. I just did a quick little intro here. I was just getting down to the nitty gritty, what we need to talk about for the stardom and screw-ums for here today. So, I want to keep it PG-13 because I know the stardom FM may not play out too
well. Sometimes people will be watching this, with their kids getting warmed up for Sunday. So it's probably a good idea.
Or teaching them something. Let me learn you something, kid.
Man, my son, I let him put in a DraftKings lineup every week. He won $40 on a $3 lineup last week. So,
ooh, all right. Teach him to gamble early. I like it.
Yeah, great parenting, right?
I'm just kidding. No, when my daughter does ask about fantasy football, and I'm like, honey, when you get older, I could teach you the intricacies. Can't even say that word today. Intricacies of the fantasy football lineups and what it means. And she's gonna be a shark. I'm telling you, she's gonna take all these boys' money when she gets older.
Yeah, my son was saying Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson are gonna have a great week because he's like, they're not gonna play bad 2 weeks in a row. I was like, yeah, you're probably right about that,
Oh, really? All right.
He likes to watch
that,
he likes to watch a game.
Take over here.
Yeah. I got some questions for you, man. I don't know
who to start
in certain positions. I'm kind of stuck. So, and it's not for either of our leagues. So, not going to get any.
Well, you're not facing me anyway, so I don't care.
Okay.
As long as you're not facing me, I'll give you advice.
All right, cool.
All right. So what's up? What's the dilemma, brother?
First thing, in 2 leagues, I'm deciding between Laporta and Hunter Henry. Who do you think I should go with there?
Ooh. Let me see matchups. So Seahawks against the Lions, and last year that was the highest scoring game of the decade. It was 48-45, ridiculous scoring.
Really?
Yeah, when they met up last year, and then and honestly, that he seems to be the second best receiver on that team.
Right?
Josh Reynolds was playing good as well, so he might get some looks. But I think it's gonna be high scoring, but maybe not as high scoring because the secondary for Seattle's strong. And then Hunter Henry, I have him spot starting in one league, and he's going up against Miami, who just gave up like third most points last week.
Yeah, both are good matchups
to the air. Mm-hmm.
Both are good.
So I'd say I give the slight edge to Hunter Henry, just because he's the top option over there for, top option arguably for Mac Jones. You look at him, like I was saying last week for my player profile or whatever it was, he was Mac Jones' favorite target last year. So, I think that he can definitely do good there.
That's important.
What's up, Gendry? What's up, brother? Welcome to the stream. Appreciate you joining us here. You got any questions for us here? Because damn well last week, that was a fluke. Tua, high ceiling. lower floor, right? That's what I said. So, and at the same time, I also said Justin Herbert. I would have started him. So, who would have known Tua was going to go for 400 yards last week
Yeah, we'll
against
try to
that
steer you in
defense?
the right direction this week, best we can.
Yeah, yeah. There he goes. But yeah, I'm actually looking right now. I don't know if you guys are aware, but they just printed out the injury reports on who's in and who's out. So if you guys haven't done so already, you need to go check that out. Obviously, Aaron Jones is officially out for the week. So obviously no brainer start A.J. Dillon.
Yeah.
Another surprise is scratch. I know no one's starting him, but Cordarrelle Patterson is out for the week. So that must be a lingering issue here.
Yeah,
so
must be. I thought he was on the mend, so maybe not.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, to me, I'm just looking at it like I had a couple players I wanted to stash this week anyways, and I'm picking up across the league. Like right now, I just moved, obviously, Aaron Jones to my IR, Cordell Patterson to the IR, and I picked up Kadarius Toney. I know he's someone that not everybody's high on this week, but that last week was just an anomaly in my opinion, and I feel like he could definitely bounce back. And I just picked him up in all 3 leagues. Boom, he's on my bench. He's not somebody that you want to hang your hat on, but I'm just looking at it as a wild card bench stash. If he gets it together this week, Tony he is not trash. He's just has low work ethic. That's a little bit different. Yeah. He's one of those guys trying to survive on talent.
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier this week, and he's got minimal drive, but I agree, Gendry. Whoever wants him, you can have him. He's got no spot on my squad, even on my bench.
So here's the thing that I saw. We were talking about work ethic. I know this is stupid because he should have been doing this from day one. But earlier this week, around Wednesday or Thursday, which it should have been coming out since Monday, Kadarius Toney was staying 30 minutes behind to catch balls on a jug machine.
No shit! Wow, that's exactly what you just said.
30 minutes. Oh my goodness! It's like a whole 30 minutes on Wednesday. Oh my god, that's amazing.
But that is what you said.
Should have been a whole hour every day. Yeah, after that game when he had all those drops, bro. After all those drops in KC.
Yeah.
Any great player would have been there like, I need to catch the next 100 balls straight. I mean, that's what Amon-Ra St. Brown did. Like, if you look at his work ethic, if you have him, that guy's a stud. You have him in a couple leagues, right, Joe?
Yeah. Amon-Ra. I'm high on him. I was lucky, when he had his breakout year, I was lucky I snatched him up before he broke out. But, another one that's a sleeper that I would suggest stashing if he's still available is Roschon Johnson, Chicago running back, just because, there's always question marks in that backfield, and even more after last week. So he's worth a stash.
Oh, yeah. I have him in one league. He had 16 points, and it looks like he's taking the pass catch and roll because I know they were planning on possibly having Khalil Herbert as a 3-down back, and I don't think Khalil Herbert's a 3-down back. He's just he was good in limited workload and touches, but he's not somebody that you're going to have taking 3 downs every time. So. And Roschon, obviously, all that tape from Texas, he's highly efficient. Training camp, they've been raving about him. And I think that Khalil Herbert and Dante Foreman are going to be interchangeable for the roles on offense, and that's going to leave the pass catch and work to Roschon for sure.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the next few weeks pan out. I got another question for you. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was saying, Gendry said Sky Moore is best receiver in KC. I mean, that's not saying much, brother. Kelsey's the best receiver in KC.
Yeah, all the wide receivers can be, in my opinion, all the wide receivers in Kansas City should be left on waivers until we see something. If you see something 1 week, still keep them on your bench until you see it 2 weeks in a row. It's just too unpredictable. But yeah, another question for running back. So would you go Josh Kelly or Tyler Algier?
So definitely Josh Kelly. Austin Eckler's out. Like that's a not a hard one for me. So Austin Eckler's out. That means Josh Kelly's going to take the full workload. You might have some additional touches to Spiller on the whatever their backup running back is, a rookie from last year. So I don't think that's going to be a doubt that he's going to get that workload. and Algier could definitely get a workload. But who's the Atlanta Falcons playing right now? Let me look them up.
I know. See, that's the thing is Josh Kelly has a tough matchup against Tennessee. That's the only reason I was a little hesitant on that is because of the matchup.
Yeah, who did Tennessee play last week?
Let's
see. They're playing Green. So Algier is playing Green Bay. I don't think that's going to be as much of a blowout as people think. Just because Green Bay played great last week. And I was telling a lot of people that, remember, I was talking about Jordan Love in the offseason, man. I was saying how Jordan Love is, been sitting 4 years behind Aaron Rodgers. He was a great quarterback at Utah State. I think that's where he came from. And he was going to step right in and be a solid contributor to the team. So that was obviously, it's a surprise he finished top 5, but he's definitely a solid QB. But I think that the matchup against Tennessee, they have a good front 7, definitely against the pass. But as far as against the run, I mean, Chargers are going to move it down, and then on the goal line, they're going to punch it in. And Kelly's a really good in between the tackles.
Yeah, I agree with it. Just to recap last week, though, it was against the New Orleans Saints, the Titans, and the final score was 16-15. The Saints won. So, I mean, 31 total points is a grind. And just to piggyback off that, would you go Jamal Williams or Josh Kelly?
I don't know.
Jamal Williams has a decent matchup against Carolina today.
Yeah, well, they got gorged last week by the Falcons. The Panthers did. So that's where Algier and Bijan Robinson had amazing days, was last week against Panthers. And then another thing, too, I like Jamal Williams just in general because he looked sluggish last week. I think he was obviously overworked from training camp. He had a week to rest up. They probably didn't overwork him too hard in practice because they want to give him that workload. I think he had like 15 or 18 touches. So I would give the slight edge to Jamal Lewis because obviously, Titans I think Josh Kelly is going to have a TD or so, obviously with this matchup, but it's definitely not going to be an easy one for him. So I would go with Jamal Williams on that one.
Yeah, it's almost a coin flip. All right, Gendry, he's saying Kelly on that one. I'm completely up in the air, so I don't actually know what I'm gonna do yet. Now Gendry has a question for us: Kyren, Algier, or Nico Collins? Personally, I would go with Algier, but those are all pretty respectable options at flex.
Yeah, and I'm actually going to go the other way. I'm going to go Nico Collins just because he had a good workload last week. He caught 6 of 11 targets, and he's the number 1 wide receiver on that team. It's not even close.
It's not close.
The best guy is Robert Woods and Tank Dell, who had a few drops last week. So Nico Collins, to me, has the highest ceiling. Tyler Algier has the most solid floor. So if you need 8 to 10 points, go with Algier to win your matchup. But if you want to take that long shot and shoot for the 15 plus points, I think that's Nico Collins.
Yeah. And Kyron's not a bad play either. I mean, it's just such a strange backfield they've got going on in LA.
Well, they're playing the Niners, so hell no, you're not playing Kyron
yeah, never
today.
mind. I forgot about that. Yeah,
keep them out way. Keep anybody on the Rams today should be benched. I think because wasn't that your cold call of the week? Was Niners versus Rams?
No, actually that was my hot matchup of the week. And the reason why is because I feel like the first half is going to be complete destruction. The Niners are just going to steamroll them, and then the Rams are going to play catch up and just be launching balls to Tutu Atwell and Puka Nuka.
Puka.
So
Did we lose you? I can't hear you, Joe. Hello? Let me try this here. All right, well, Joe's got technical difficulties. Let's see if he's back. Can you hear me, Joe? Gendry, can you hear Joe or me or both right now? Because I can't hear Joe. Yeah, he had to disconnect and come back. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. There he goes. Let's see what's going on here. Joe, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Perfect. I can. We're good now. Yeah, it started blinking in and out on your screen.
I saw that. Yeah, I was doing that for mine too. I don't know. It's this cheap ass webcam I got.
No, it's just probably connection buffering. That's all. So that's good. You did the right thing. Clicked in and out. Let's see. All right, just you. Perfect. All right, sounds good. But yeah, some key matchups today. Just so you let you guys know, Zach Moss is starting today for the Colts. Colts is playing in Houston, Texans ranked defense or 28th ranked defense. So that's going to be a nice streamer for today. I almost grabbed them in all three of my leagues. In the Champions League, I messed up. Instead of going with my plan where I get Moss first and then I go after the handcuff, I went for the handcuff Evan Hull first, the rookie. And so somebody ended up grabbing Moss that same round. So I was like, damn, I messed up. But if you have him, he's a nice streamer here today.
Long term, that could actually be better for you. You know, it's hard to say right now.
Hull's on IR.
Oh shit. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, he had a knee injury. It wasn't like permanent, but it was enough to put him in IR. So he's going to be out for probably half the season. So he's probably not going to be fantasy relevant this year. But I pretty much would say, like, as far as today, you know, don't, like you were saying, don't start any Chiefs receivers, right? Stay away from that. Arizona's playing the Giants. That could be a good matchup. Who knows, right? Giants
I
had a
like
rough
that
game last week.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Arizona looked better than they did. But I have Marquise Brown. I think, Gendry, you grabbed Brown in one of our leagues here.
I saw that. I was looking for him.
Bastard.
That's why I noticed.
Me too. I had a claim in for him too. I was like, who that? I was like, he dropped Marquise Brown, and the guy picked up. I'll tell you who he picked up. It was a real head scratcher. My boy Roland. He dropped him, and he picked up Devontae Parker.
Ouch.
Marquise Brown over Algier. That's a tough one, man. Marquise Brown over Algier.
I would go Algier.
He's just more stable. I'll take the 10 points over the possible dud.
Yeah,
you know?
Marquise Brown he's just so streaky. He could give you 20 or he could give you literally 2. So
yeah, and if it was Kyler Murray, it's one thing, but it's Joshua Dobbs we're talking about here, you know? So, I mean, there's not – and even if it was Colt McCoy, which I have no idea why they released him, because he had a couple solid starts last year in place of Kyler Murray.
Yeah, that was surprising.
They dropped him and they picked up a brand new guy, and that just didn't make sense. No way Marquise Brown is Mike Williams 2.0, bro. Not even the same skill set. Get out of here.
They have a lot in common with the peaks and valleys, though. That is, I mean, something that they both
you're talking about hit or miss?
Yeah. Because, Mike Williams might be a better player overall. But, you know, Marquise Brown there's times when there's times where he's booming. And then there's many times where he's a total bust. But the thing is, with Dobbs at quarterback, they're going to be dumping off the ball a lot to Ertz. If you got Ertz on waivers and you can grab him, he's probably a good play compared to many other tight ends this week and season long. If he stays healthy, Dobbs is going to be dumping the ball off to him a lot. That's his safety valve. He's not going to be chucking down, 40, 50 yards to Hollywood Brown as much as he's going to be dumping the ball off to Zach Ertz.
Yeah, that's true. Zach Ertz had 10 targets last week, man. That's ridiculous. I mean, he only got 35 yards on 6 receptions, so it's all shallow. But in a PPR league, that's amazing. And I think that was your player profile as well, right?
Yeah, I think he had less yards than that, but it was not a good amount of yardage, but still, like, that many receptions, and they're going to look for him in the red zone. He had a pass to him in the red zone that he just missed. So, it was off his fingertips, and that's something that would have put him in double digits. So he's definitely
and it was 21 yards.
Yeah, 21.
You're right. It was 21. Yeah. So six receptions for 21 yards, man. That's
all right. PPR. Remember, guys, we're always talking PPR. Standard league, you're going to want to probably look elsewhere, but he could grab touchdown here and there for sure. He's gotten tons of touchdowns in his career. He's had some huge seasons.
Yeah, I agree. And then what about some last minute injuries that you think made certain guys streamers for today? For example, if you have CJ Watson, he hasn't played a second week in a row, the hamstring, So he, Jaden Reed, rookie last week, he's obviously boosted up in the ESPN projections if you're looking for him. But obviously, it's Josh. It's the Romeo Dubes show over there. Romeo Dubes.
For now,
For now, yeah. But
he's
watch, if
another
Tony hits on that bench, bro, I'm gonna be looking like a genius here, and then I'm gonna have to figure out who I'm gonna get rid of.
Like I said, I want to see it 2 weeks in a row. Tony has those weeks here and there where everyone gets real hot on him. Oh, we've been waiting. We knew it. Then
he doesn't play the next two. Well, that was his thing last year. Yeah, he had that big game, and then he doesn't play for the next 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Or I will be dropping him if he's a dud. Dropping who? Marquise Brown? Drop him right now.
He's talking about
He'll go to waivers until Tuesday.
Yeah, I mean,
now.
If Tony puts up a dud, though, are you going to drop him or are you going to hang on to him?
If he puts up another dud, I'm going to definitely drop him. Right now, I got obviously you can't see, but I can just pull it up over here. So I ended up I got the 2 extra bench spots, and I was looking at like who's available right now, and there's not really any players
it's slim pickings. That's for sure.
Yeah, definitely. These guys are sharks in these leagues, man. So they're aware of who to pick up, who not to. But that's why I'm just going for who's most likely season long to be relevant, right? Because if you're looking at it like right now, who's a spot start right now? If you don't need a spot start. I mean, there's only one reason that would make sense is if you're trying to block your opponent from getting them.
Right.
But if you're looking for it's not really a strong matchup or a strong start, and you're just looking at it like, oh, I'm just going to bench him or grab him because he's the best available option. That's not typically what I look for when it comes to bench stashes. I look for like potential and like obviously a scenario where they come out on top. And there's only a few players on there. So if you like look through the wire right now, there's absolutely nobody in our leagues. Actually, there's a couple. So like Terrence Marshall Jr. So he was a rookie last year with the Panthers. Right. He got six targets this past week. Obviously, the rookie, I can't recall his name. The rookie for the Panthers also got about 5 to 8 targets as well. So, which is surprising because Stealing didn't get more than 2 or 3. But that's pretty much. I just picked up a few guys just to see what they do. Like somebody let Charbonnet go in my league.
It might have been me.
I picked him up. Like you let Charbonnet go.
I have him in a couple leagues. Or I have Kenneth Walker in a couple leagues. That's why I have Charbonnet, because if anything happens, he'll be a great start. Hey, Gendry, it's funny that you ask about Musgrave because I was just about to mention that I picked him up in 2 leagues and put him on my bench just because I do see a lot of potential for him the rest of the season. I think he could be a reliable start, in the next couple weeks. So if Jordan Love, continues to target him, I think he's a much better option than most tight ends that are on the wire right now. And again, I picked him up in a couple leagues. He's still available in many leagues, though.
Jordan Love?
No, Musgrave.
Musgrave?
Luke Musgrave.
Yeah. Yeah, you were on the Sam Laporta hype train, too, and he looked I had him in a couple leagues as well as a backup tight end, and I ended up dropping my starting. I dropped Dalton Schultz in my other league just for him on the fence due to Watson not playing. Musgrave, Rookie of the Year. Oh, no, Musgrave won't be Rookie of the Year, though.
I think he's saying rest of year. I think he was asking rest of year.
Oh, rest of year. Got you. Yeah, I mean, he could be good. He's the best option for tight end in that room, and he actually looks like a great route runner. So, yeah, it's just about I don't know if that Green Bay offense is going to be too high scoring, too much passing. They're going to be probably really balanced between the run and the pass.
Yeah, I would like to see someone like Jordan Love. He's still fresh to the league, so he might lean on Musgrave as well. And today might be a good game to plug him in if you need somebody, because without Aaron Jones, they're going to probably focus on running AJ Dillon and dumping the ball off to slot receivers and people like Musgrave. So I don't know if those short passes will probably be something that Jordan Love makes a lot today.
Yeah, it definitely a matchup to see. You know what I thought was a real head scratcher in the Champions League? My boy dropped Justin Tucker, and
Yeah.
I almost picked him up. And I was like, I like Jason Sanders a little bit more long term because I think Miami's probably not going to, I was on a dilemma. I was like, do I want Jason Sanders for Miami kicker or do I want Justin Tucker? And like preseason, I would have definitely went Justin Tucker all day. But
Yeah, number one overall.
because he's gonna hit the 60-yarders, and those 60-yarders are bonus points in the league. Those are worth 6 points.
And that offense
40
is still
4.
struggling, even though they've made some adjustments that are good. As a whole, they are still struggling. And then, with Dobbins going down, we don't know what the hell is going on in the backfield. Rashad Bateman is clearly not the wide receiver one. You got Zay Flowers, but he can't do it all. So you've really got Mark Andrews and Zay Flowers. The rest is just a huge question mark. So Tucker's going to be someone that, in my opinion, is very valuable. I didn't realize that he was dropped in one of your leagues, and I might have to pick him up if he's still around.
Yeah, he's still around. I almost made the call. I almost went him over Jason Sanders, but I didn't. I just ended up leaving him on the wire, and I may regret it later, but I got Jason Sanders in my other league, so I was like, might as well, keep some continuity there. But you just brought up something that made me think. So one of the scenarios I was talking to you about before, I was like, I'm not going to divulge my secret yet. So after watching that Philadelphia game on Thursday, I really sincerely feel like the Vikings need to make a move on running back. If you watch Madison, he's not it. That guy is sluggish. He's a good backup, but he's not a starter. And although the Vikings aired it out through the air, they have a lot of money on the books, and their defense actually looks solid. Like, they didn't want to give anything up over top, so we ran it down their throats for almost 200 yards. So they're going to have to adjust on that. But I also think that they're going to make a play for running back. The reason why Baltimore hasn't yet is because they already signed Melvin Gordon, and they're trying to see how him and Gus Edwards work out with Justice Hill, because Justice Hill had those 2 touchdowns. But I think this week that backfield struggles, and then you're going to see, it's either going to be Leonard Fournette or Kareem Hunt that's going to be picked up by these teams. And I think, in my opinion, although Fournette's out of football shape, Kareem Hunt's in better shape. I think Fournette would be the better long-term season running back you would want to have as far as a team. So that's why I would see probably Kareem Hunt going to the Ravens on a roll, just because they have Odell Beckham, they have Lamar Jackson, they have those flashy names, right? Because Minnesota only has Justin Jefferson as their flashy name. But then I would see Minnesota, if they continue to struggle to run the ball, Leonard Fournette gets picked up on that team. So that's why that's my, controversial take. But that's basically something that I've been feeling lately that will end up happening.
You could definitely be right about that. I picked up Kareem Hunt in a bunch of leagues and then dropped him just because the discussions with those 4 teams that were looking at him seemed to fade. I'm sure those contracts are still strong, and it's possible he signs with one of them. But, you got to think about it. Do I want to have him sitting on my bench for a few more weeks, or can I put someone that's actually playing football in there? And, even though I think it was like the very last round of a couple leagues, I grabbed Kareem Hunt, and then I dropped him, and James picked him up in one league, and I saw you grab Fournette in that same league that James picked up Kareem Hunt. And that's definitely not a bad move. And I agree, man. The Vikings looked bad on the run. And I thought Madison was going to be better. I actually had, and I don't know, I know it's just week 1, but visually he looked bad. So it's hard to trust.
Yeah, he just played week 2, and he looks slow, man. He looks sluggish. Like, he's not an explosive player. He's not a fancy player. Like, you might give him the ball at the 1-yard line and he'll get it in. Like, he'll punch it in. But he's not a workhorse back. And I think Minnesota's going to realize that. But it's, basically figuring out, is it worth the wait of waiting, 1, 2, possibly 4 weeks of these players being signed and sitting on your bench doing nothing,
Right, because they're going to need a week to get warmed up too.
Yeah, and especially get back in football shape, Right.
But
I looked at it like last year, like Le'Veon Bell getting signed to the Ravens. I was like, oh, yeah, that's going to be good. Or 2 years ago when he got signed, and I picked him up across the board, and he ended up doing nothing. But I think Le'Veon Bell is so far past his prime that obviously that's a reason. I still think, Fournette has some left in the tank. Definitely Kareem Hunt has more left in the tank. I think Kareem probably has 2, maybe 3 years.
Yeah, I
Fournette
do
maybe
too.
1 to 2. Yeah,
And
because they're definitely.
They both have had good seasons recently. Kareem Hunt had last season wasn't good, but before that he was on fire. His entire career. And
Yeah.
Fournette had an unbelievable season the last couple of years too. So when you look at that compared to, Le'Veon was on the Jets and he didn't do anything. So him coming over, you're like, we'll see. He's still young. He might have something left, but he just didn't.
Yeah, he wasted his prime holding out for those 2 years that, it was
man.
like 1.5 years or something like that. Yeah. Kareem in his third round, Caesar. Yeah, our boy Caesar. He didn't grab him this year though. But yeah, James did pick up Fournette in my Champions League. I was like, damn, he's on to it. He knows what's going on.
He
right?
loves Fournette though. So he was probably on his radar even before the draft.
Yeah, yeah. And he was on mine as like a late sleeper if I needed the death, And I got to the point where I'm like, it's going to be a wait between 1 and 4 weeks maybe before we see these guys get signed, because you're going to see some injuries. They're waiting for that prime opening to open up,
Yeah.
The difference is I don't know if Fournette, like we said, is in the right football shape. Only time will tell. But that's kind of where my head's at. There's a few players like that. Well, it was Zeke before, but remember he got signed by the Pats going into the season. As you can see, he's off to a slow start as well, but that's obviously because they play the Eagles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens in the next couple of weeks with him too. But there's a lot of moving pieces at running back all around. So it's exciting to grab some people, keep them on your bench, and see how the next couple of weeks pan out. And this is a difficult week. Like when we're talking about, starts and who to plug in, I picked up Puka Nacua in a couple leagues, and he's on my bench now just because he's got a question mark next to his name. He's questionable. And even though I think they're going to be playing catch up the second half and chucking the ball downfield, I think Stafford's going to lean on Tutu and Puka. It could just be an all-out slaughter. And if Puka's not healthy, that there's just too much risk there. So even though I did pick him up in a couple leagues, he's on my bench now just because I'm not sure about his health and I'm not sure about that game. But if you don't have a better option, he could go off for 20 points again.
You're talking about Puka?
Yeah, he could. I mean, I don't know what that abdominal injuries or oblique injuries all about. Is it just, they're playing it safe, so they rested him a couple practices, or is he actually injured? Is it just?
Yeah, I'm sure it's they give him limited. I'm sure they give him a limited workload, not to overextend his obliques. But I mean, that's typically just maintenance related. So I don't see him not playing. But will it be strained enough to get worse during the course of the game? That's obviously a just story, depending on the severity of it.
Yeah, like oblique injuries and rib injuries, running and jumping is, first of all, there's nothing you can really do except wrap it. But then on top of that, it's like he might be great running, and then he goes to jump and or even just sprinting, that can really hurt your ribs and obliques. So it's just, I don't know. He might not be the same guy we saw last week.
Yeah, could be, but Tutu could be a solid one. Who knows?
I got to start him in one league. I feel like he's my best option, so I got to start him in one league.
Oh, you're starting him? Real long shot right there.
Real long
Hopefully
shot.
It works out. That's my long shot. Zach Moss this week. That's the most riskiest play I'm making. Everybody else, maybe George Pickens in one league.
Yeah, he's a risky play too.
So I had to choose between Zach Moss and George Pickens, and because Cleveland's third-ranked pass defense and Jim Schwartz was the Eagles' defensive coordinator, he has some really good pieces there. I decided that the ceiling is just a little bit higher, or the floor is higher for Zach Moss. So I know he's going to get a guaranteed workload, whereas George Pickens could get shut down. Who knows,
Who would you go with, Jahan Dotson or George Pickens?
Jahan Dotson. Yeah, that's
Jahan Dotson or Garrett Wilson?
Jahan Dotson is facing the Denver. Denver's a tough defense too, but they're going to be focused on Terry McLaurin. They're going to have Pat Surtain on Terry McLaurin. So I think who's the other option?
Garrett Wilson's going against Dallas.
Oh yeah, definitely Jahan Dotson.
Okay, that's what
because I think Dallas is going to blitz the living daylights out of Zach Wilson.
I think so too,
and he's just going to get destroyed. But that's my opinion on that.
That's the move I made. I got 3 of those guys, and got Garrett Wilson and Pickens on my bench. So you just confirmed
it's crazy that we're saying that, right?
I know.
Because Aaron Rodgers, you take that Garrett Wilson play, you know.
Of course. So I'm glad we just filled that in at the end there, because you confirmed, at least for now, that I made the right decision.
We'll see, right? In about a couple hours. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for joining us here this week. Another week of Stardom Screw 'em. And this is your boy, Manny. And, of course, Joe the Birdman over here coming at you live. Thank you so much for everything, folks, and good luck on your fantasy matchups today, guys. All right?
See you guys next week.
Take care.
Good luck.
Yes, sir.